The spear points often shattered after they pierced the skin, maximizing damage. It was a battle that the hunters won, time after time. At such moments, they felt invincible. But they could never be off guard. A mammoth kill is an invitation to a meal, and one of the guests here is the most overwhelming creature that walks the earth. The short-faced bear is coming to dinner. A moment's inattention, and one man is separated from the hunting band. This situation becomes more serious by the moment. It is in the nature of a predator to seize a good opportunity and vulnerable prey. To a population still in its infancy, any loss is serious. But the people learn from their mistakes and forge ahead. They proceed to establish themselves as the rulers of this continent. The short-faced bear is not defeated in combat. The human arsenal includes another weapon, the slow waste of hunger. The people competed for its prey, and they won. Now there is just one more challenge awaiting humankind, one more land to conquer, the land of the giant birds. All over the world, there are tales told of giant birds, big enough to catch a man in their huge talons and carry him off to their mountain strongholds. There was a time when the legends were real. While Europe was struggling into the Middle Ages, the people of the Pacific Islands were discovering a landmass that had only one single small terrestrial mammal and had hundreds of species of birds. These were islands out of time. 3,000 years ago, people struck out to explore the Pacific. Their quest took them from island to island, each generation traveling just a little farther until at last people reached the remote islands of New Zealand. Now humans had spread over all the lands of the earth, and the last habitable landmass on the planet had been claimed. Their sailing vessels show all the sophistication of developed technologies. They have woven sails and plated ropes. Their craft have seaworthy hulls to take them safely across the open water of the wild Pacific Ocean. These people are skilled mariners. The people of the Pacific Islands have not just found a new place to colonize. What they don't yet realize is that they've stumbled upon an altogether different world. They claim it for their own. Humans have now mastered agriculture, and these people will attempt to raise their favorite crops here. But hunting is still very much a part of their livelihood, so they look for what game the land offers. This is a wild and beautiful land, But it's so remote that the only other creatures to come here came the same way the people did, riding the wind and the ocean's currents. Dolphins play in New Zealand's bays, and whales feed over the deep ocean drop-offs. New Zealand is a very different land from Australia. It is farther south and much cooler. It is also a much more fertile land. And although only 1/30th of Australia's size, the forest air is thick with the rustling of small creatures and the songs of myriad birds. The birds, the direct descendants of the dinosaurs, have inherited an earthly paradise, almost free of predators. The nocturnal kiwi can feel safe on the ground. Kiwis eat worms and insects. They have taken the slot that the shrews occupy in the continents where mammals dominate. Even its vulnerable eggs and young are secure in underground nests. There are no burrowing mammals or snakes here to disturb them. An earthy paradise, indeed. The kiwi lays huge eggs, a quarter of the female's total weight. It's as if we were to give birth to 35-pound babies. Bats are the only mammals to inhabit the interior of New Zealand. Recent genetic research shows that they were probably blown here 30 million years ago, all the way from South America. And finding a feast on the forest floor, they stayed. Between them, the bats, the flightless birds, and the insects occupy all the niches that mammals do elsewhere. From kangaroos to shrews, tigers to possums, the huge variety of ways that animals can make a living is represented here in the Twin Islands of New Zealand. Soon, the people begin to explore deeper into the forests. Passage through the dense woodlands is difficult, but their curiosity drives them on. With no predators to fear on the ground, some birds, like this kakapo here, have lost their major characteristic. These birds cannot fly. Flight requires a huge amount of energy, and since these birds don't need to escape from enemies, the kiwi, the kakapo, and penguins have all grown too big to fly. So far, there seems little reason for caution, but there is a surprise here. The largest bird they had ever seen. The tallest bird the world has ever seen. This is the giant moa. Its scientific name means surprising or terrifying bird. The moas were unique, the only birds in the world that had become entirely wingless. There were 11 species of moa. This one weighs almost as much as 2 fully grown men. In the newcomer's language, moa means chicken. People's minds must have turned quickly to food. The moas were all forest-living herbivores, browsing on trees and shrubs. These islanders cannot tell at first what sort of birds they were. Nothing they've seen before would have prepared them for this giant. Those huge legs could deliver a lacerate, and the beak looks like it could cause grave damage. But the moa doesn't appear to be aggressive.